Hi, CMattDye here. Thanks for stopping by and checking out today's video. Today is the top 5 CNFT project market update, and it's going to be a good one. Before we start, I want to have a disclaimer. People that are so-called influencers, in quotation marks, some of them don't research projects fully before they talk about them. Now, you see me, when I do in-depth project videos, I do research, I talk about it. And when I do these top 5, maybe I don't know a project in the top 5, but I tell you, I don't know anything about this project. And I go purely on the numbers for my analysis. You do have some people out there that are doing analysis on these projects, and they're not doing research. And they're just spreading lies and FUD, whatever term you want to use. Recently, it happened with a well-known YouTuber. I'm not going to mention any names. If you're in the space, you know. If you don't, just be aware that what you're listening to, are they legit? Are they giving you legit information or not? That's basically the most important part. If you have any doubts, then maybe you don't want to listen to them. Our time is very valuable. Everyone's time is valuable. Time is the most precious commodity that we have available to us. So you don't want to waste it on something that might just not be very good. Now, if you don't like me, that's fine. Don't listen to me. You shouldn't be here right now. But if you do, great. Thank you. And what I'm trying to get better everything I do. That's how I've been my whole life. You get some people that they reach a certain position in their lives and they get lazy. They take advantage of things. It happens. And you've probably seen that in your own life if you look around. There's somebody in your family that keeps pushing, keeps doing stuff, and there's somebody who's probably lazy. Depending on how big your family is. If not, maybe a neighbor, someone you've seen in your community. But take it for what it is. But just be careful with who you're listening to, because they might not be giving you accurate information. So anyway, with that disclaimer, hopefully it didn't drive too many people away. I felt it was super necessary. So let's get into the top 5. So number 1, Ape Inmates. Ape Inmates is doing very, very good. I'm in the project. I like it. Yes, I did flip the ones that I minted, but then I got back into the project, and I'm going to be a long-term holder of it. Next, Ape Society. Ape Society is doing fairly okay. Yes, the floor was crashing. Is it over? We'll get into that when we get into Ape Society. When we get into Ape Society. Next is Clay Nation. Clay Nation, project that I love. I think it's probably the strongest project on the Cardano blockchain, as far as the NFT project goes. But, that's my opinion. Katz is doing fairly well. I've seen them on the top 5 a couple times so far. And then Ghostchain. Ghostchain's pumping a little bit. So we'll get into that when we get into that. Next, we can go down the list. Good Charlotte by Clay Nation, Chilled Kong, Space Buds, Old Money, Cornucopias, Mallard Order. You can see all of these are large projects, except for Ada Inmates just minted. However, I do think they're going to become a blue chip in the CNFT space. And then Cats, of which I still have done zero research on, so I know nothing about them. But the technicals do look fairly good. So let's get into the top 5. Number 1, Ada Inmates. Ada Inmates floor is 244. The floor has been pumping. People are buying. All-time high sell around 10,000. Holders, there's a little bit more than that, but it's getting pretty granular. So holders are pretty good out of 5,000. And we're coming up on some catalyst events for this project. So if you hold between February 25th and August 1st, you're going to get an airdrop of a cellmate. For every 3 inmates that you hold, you're going to get a whitelist for one female that you can mint, which is going to be 5 ADA and their native token smokes, which is a pretty darn good price, I think. And then you're going to get a 1-for-1 whitelist for cells. And each cell is going to grant you one free 4x6 poster. But because it is a prison, every 30 days, you do have a chance of getting your poster confiscated or thrown out. So that's very interesting. Certain inmates give you a chance to not have your poster confiscated, which is interesting. But if you are in that project, you know about it. If not, that's fine. I'll probably do a video on this one in a little bit. I've done a couple already. Why not do another one? But anyway, let's get into what's going on. So they minted for 130. The floor kind of dropped a little bit a few days later, down to 137. Then it did push up a little bit, scoffed right here around 199, dropped again, but held 165. Predominantly it held in the 170s, so that was an outlier, I think. And then it started to push up afterwards, and it stayed over 200 for a few days, which is pretty large. So what do I want to see here, speaking purely numbers wise? Hold over 200. And because we have that 25th catalyst event, I do think the price is going over 300, hopefully 400. If it doesn't get over 300, look for it to range between 2 and 300. There's going to be some people selling after the 25th because they don't realize that they have to hold from the 25th to August 1st. And there's going to be some snapshots in between those dates. There's going to be a secondary event from May 1st to August 1st. Let's say you get into the project in April. You can hold from May 1st to August 1st to get airdropped smokes. But you have to hold from the Feb 25th to August 1st to be able to get your cellmate airdrop as well as smokes airdrop. And you're going to get some more smokes the longer that you hold. So that's that. There are some large holders. If you look at the top 5, over 70 for all 5. That's pretty large. There's some big money in the project, so that's interesting. That's not why I got in, but that is a good reason to be in. Floor is 244. So, I like the project. I'm in it. So, maybe I'm a little biased. But do your own research if you are interested in this at all. There's only going to be 70 million tokens. That's huge. I think people were kind of sleeping on that a little bit. A lot of people know about it, but not everyone. So that's a very small token supply. And they don't have a disastrous tokenomics like our next project. Number 2, the Ape Society. Ape Society floor is 7,333. It did crash below 6, but it's people are buying it back up now. All-time high sell around 250. They have a good amount of holders, 1991 out of 7,000. So if we scroll down, you can see that the floor was just crashing. 6669. People love meme numbers. And then now it's bouncing a little bit. You want to see it get over that 9,000, 10,000 level. If it's going to go higher from here, I'm not holding my breath on that, but that's what you want to see. If it gets back below 7,000, stays below that number, you can see it get fairly weak, maybe that 4,000 or 5,000 number. I'm not in the project at all, so I don't own anything in the project right now. I sold all my apes a little bit ago, but it is what it is. A lot of people are getting out of some more established projects to get into new projects. That's been happening over the past couple of weeks, but also people are getting out of Ape Society because you can't make the ADA that you were able to make. So with their tokenomics, the emissions rate basically went up like this, and then it dropped. And that's the way it was set up to do. However, this was a little bit more of an incline. Less of an incline than this chart right here, but it's a good example. And now that the rewards are much less than they were, some people were running for the door. They're like, well, I made a little bit of profit, let me get out. Others bought into it thinking that it was going to last, and they realized that It's just not. So they're getting out. So I think that has something to do with it, as well as people are just looking at newer projects. I've seen some people sell some apes and get into ADA inmates. I'm not trying to hype that project at all. I'm just saying I've seen that. So, it is what it is. So take it for what it is. But if you're into any of these projects, do your own research. I've seen people get into projects without doing any research. I've done it, yes. I got into Alley Cats after their mint. But I did it because I saw that secondary volume, and I knew with that volume, there was a very good chance of it going higher, and that's what it did. Now, I did have my stop set up. Like, I knew that if it just dropped in price and went below a certain number, I was going to get out. But I also knew if it was going to go up, I had my number where I was going to get out as well. So that's kind of what you have to do. But, do your own research on projects. Ape Society, there's still a lot of big holders, but the team is getting a little bit egotistical, and I think they're getting a little bit lazy, but they're still building. They're definitely building a couple other things with the project. They're pushing it along. The tokenomics were kind of disastrous, and I think that's having an effect, but I do believe they will come back. And whatever this floor does, maybe it does go a little lower. Maybe it actually does support and go sideways here. Who knows? But it looks to me like it's probably going to go lower. Keep an eye on that 9,000 to 10,000. If it does get that, maybe it's going sideways for a little bit. Stays under that, especially gets back under 7, it can go lower. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. The next few days to weeks will be super interesting for this project. Next is Clay Nation. Clay Nation, I think, is the strongest project on the Cardano NFTs. In Cardano NFTs, one of the strongest. I could definitely say the strongest. I know a lot of people are going to debate that, but that's my opinion. So anyway, 37.50 floor price, 100,000 all-time high sell. 4271 holders out of 9970. That's huge. That's super strong. And if we look at the volume here, the floor, it's looking pretty decent. It can go up a little more, but I expect it to come down a little bit with everything else. I don't think it's going to go under 3,000, but that 2,400, 3,000 is a place I would keep an eye on if I wanted to buy any. So right here, I wouldn't be a buyer. However, if you have extra ADA, you're talking maybe 700 to 1,000 ADA to get in. Maybe it's if it drops a little bit. But Clays, I believe they're a very strong project. There's a lot of catalyst coming up with Clays. Their token is doing phenomenal. So I like Clay. You can see that they do have a lot of holders, a lot of big holders. And Clays, from my experience being in the Clay community, a lot of their holders are diamond handers. Like, there's not that many sellers of Clay, which is pretty cool. Good Charlotte, there's more flippers in that one just because it's a lower price. But there's also a lot of diamond handers with that project as well. Next, let's go to Alley Cats. Alley Cats is at a 318 floor, 14,000 all-time high sell, and just look at that volume, 4.3 million ADA traded. That's huge. That's huge. The holders, not bad, 2317 out of 9,999. That's pretty decent, especially for a project that is minted recently. When they minted, you could just start seeing that volume just go off. And I think a lot of ETH and Sol people came over. Who knows? Who knows what happened? But once I started seeing that volume, I kind of felt, this is a project I need to at least, try to get into this momentum wave. And then, I flipped. Some people did, some people didn't. I know there's some diamond handers in the project just because I've spoken to some of them. But right now, it's trying to find this floor, but you can see it's been staying over 300. It's been staying over that. Now, if it pushes over 450, you could see it maybe start to move up. You want to see it eventually take out that 530 level. So if it gets over 4s, that's the level that it's going to try to take out. But staying over 300 is pretty strong. And just going strictly by the numbers, it's looking pretty good. And that's the level I would kind of have as my line in the sand. If I were to get in and took that out, I'd probably be looking for the door. But if it did hold above that, I'd be content to hold, just looking purely at the numbers. If you like this project and you want me to do a deep dive, just let me know and I can do that. I may do that anyway, just because it has showed up in the top 5 a couple times recently. So, we'll see what happens. But the purely numbers, it looks good. Next, let's go to Ghostchain. Ghostchain, 585 floor, 10,000 all-time high sell. And I think these numbers are not accurate. This 980 holders out of 10,000. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's accurate. I know the minting number, the listed number is usually not accurate in any project that OpenCNFT shows. The holders, I don't know if that's accurate. I know there's some big holders in the project. If we scroll down here, that's kind of crazy. 900 Ghostchains right there, 388 there. That's very, very large. People are really betting on the marketplace that's coming out. So that is interesting. I think that the future of marketplaces are going to end up being like real estate. Whereas real estate, let's say this one person lists it, well, they get a commission. And then this other person sells it, they get a commission. But it's listed on the overall marketplace. And that's where the CNFT market is eventually going to go to, in my opinion. So one marketplace is going to list it. It's going to show up on every marketplace. One marketplace is going to sell it. That's where the commission is. And then the ones that are go-between just don't get anything. So is Flipper going to do well? Is it not? It's going to do okay. But is it going to be the number 1? I'm not betting on it. But, I don't really know too much about it. They are doing some cool things, I know. So are they going to be relevant? Yeah, I would think so. But anyway, back to here, you can see that they minted. It was on 15, 20, 30 ADA. You could have picked up a bunch for. Then they moved up on hype pretty much. And then they found the floor. Now they're getting closer to Flipper coming out. They do have a game and they have some land. I don't really know anything about that, so I can't really comment one way or the other on that. But if you're interested, I would check that out if I were you. Get in their Discord and ask questions. Now it's pumping a little bit just because people are talking more about that marketplace. And this is information that I've seen. Is it 100% the reason? Probably not. But is it the majority? I think so. So it's starting to pump a little bit due to that. If it holds over 550, it can continue up a little more. Maybe it gets over 750, 800. We'll see what it does once it gets there. But it actually is looking good to move higher right now. Just looking at this. So we'll see what actually does transpire with that. But it's looking very interesting. So that is Ghostchain. That is the top 5. So what have I done recently? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So I've been buying ADA Inmates. Been getting into that project. The projects that I've sold recently, I sold my Makasi. I sold a couple cards from a card game that's coming out called Psychos. I got out of that. I bought them mostly to flip them because I don't really play card games like that. The only card game I play is real life spades, and then I play poker online and in real life when I get time, which is very rare. So I haven't really played many card games lately. Sold some Ada Army and Ada Digis. Sold all of those. Ada Digis just hasn't really done anything. I've been in the project. I don't really have time to go in their Discords, but when I used to, it was just nothing really going on. People just talking. And, it's not for me. Not for me. So Some people probably enjoy those projects that I sold. That's fine. And I'm glad that you enjoy them. But it's just, for me personally, our time is very precious and I just can't be in everything. So hopefully that makes sense. What am I looking forward to minting? So I'm going to do a video coming out very soon on ADA Mint. They're minting on the 21st. So it has to be very soon. And I'm going to put it out right after this video. So it'll just be a back-to-back thing. The Stag Alliance is going to announce their minting date between now and February 24th, which is Friday. So they're going to announce it sometime between now and then. Goofy Gopher Mining Club said that they're minting on March 11th. It was either the 8th or the 11th. I think it was the 11th. So that they announced that just a few days ago. We have Blacklist coming up on the 24th. I'm unsure if I want to mint them or not. I probably will end up minting, but right now I'm kind of unsure. I'll look into it in a few days and see what I think. Pond is going to be minting very soon in the next few days. If you are part of that snapshot with the acronym Tribe or acronym Custom, you will get an airdrop Pond NFT. And when the mint, I think that's going to be very good. That's good. This is going to be the last mint for Pond, and then your airdrop will happen right after, like maybe a few hours, few days, something like that. That's about the best information I can get right now. So that's what I'm looking at doing. That's what I did, and those are the mints that I'm looking forward to. If there's a project that you want me to cover, specifically, let me know. Like Alley Cats, for example, haven't done any research into that. Maybe it's time to. Or, Ghostchain. I'm probably going to do another video on ADA Inmates just because I do like that project. And it's not trying to pump my own bags or anything like that. That's not really what I do. I like to cover good projects that I think people might be interested in because I think they're doing really good things. So that's the videos that I try to do. I try to be non-biased in the videos and try to just cover the facts. So kind of like what I did with Ape Society today. I was a little negative on them, but the facts are the facts. So anyway, hopefully you do enjoy that. Let me know in the comment section down below. With that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Thanks for giving your time today to watch the video. Hopefully it was helpful. And if it was, let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you around the crypto markets. Take care.